Rafa called me at 6 a.m.
Today?
No, the other day.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like, bro, why are you calling me so early?
That guy. I texted you at 5:50 this morning.
I know. I responded pretty early.
Yeah.
You guys.
You ready? Are you ready?
Bro, this is a week I've been waiting for.
All right. Let's get it. You ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of King of the Court. We are your host, Tyler and
Jimmy Miller.
Jimmy Miller, the one and only. All right,
The only.
this episode is jam-packed, as we always say.
Jam-packed.
We have a lot to go over.
A lot of crazies this weekend.
A lot of announcements.
A lot of people went off their meds.
A lot of stuff to just cover. So thank you for tuning in. And if you are watching this video, please do us a big favor. Hit that like and subscribe button. It helps grow this channel and allows us to keep doing these episodes.
That's right.
But first and foremost, we'd like to give a big shout out to the title sponsor of King of the Court podcast, which is The Pickler. They are the premier indoor facilities, pickleball facilities all around the world. If you're interested in starting your own business, being a part of the booming pickleball business, reach out to them at thepickler.com and tell them that the guys at KOTC sent you. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, just coming up this week, the week that we've been waiting for, the Pickler Utah Open.
So it is not at a Pickler facility. However,
is not.
Pickler is sponsoring and is the title
So
sponsor.
breathe easy, John's brothers. Breathe easy.
Yes. Well, they will not be there.
Colin is.
Oh, he is.
Colin's playing with Deckel
Yeah.
and Utah's own Elise Jones.
Hey, let's go, Elise.
Yeah. But Ben will not be there.
Okay, so they will be the title sponsor. So they have a lot of different activities going on during the tournament. We will be a part of some of those activities. We will be doing a live Q&A, talking to a lot of people. And we also have is it a stack party?
So, yeah, there's a stack party.
Okay.
Everybody is invited. Okay, so if you are going to be at the Pickler Open, PPA, Salt Lake, come to the stack party. We'll post the invitation.
Yep.
Free food and drinks for, I think, the first 100 people. It's at an indoor, it's kind of at this like bougie pickleball facility it's only about 10 to 15 minutes from the venue, but they have 4 courts. They have full service bar, they have games, they have pickleball courts. It's like a upscale chicken and pickles, almost the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it's a stack party. Tyler and I will be there. Let's get some games in. Let's hang out. It's Friday night. I don't know what time it starts, but we'll post the invitation.
Yeah. So check it out.
Yeah.
Also, big shout out to our next sponsor, which is Pickleball Central. They are the #1 online retailer for all things pickleball, for pickleball paddles, bags, accessories, whatever it is, they have it. Use code KOTC0824.
Yes.
0824 for this month's discount code. As always, it is the best discount code available and works on most items. It supports us and it is giving you the best price possible.
Yeah. Pickleball Central, obviously, you guys are all going to shop there. You guys shop there anyways. You're going to buy all of your equipment, things there, save a little bit of money. Use code KOTC0824. Like we said, it's the best code out there, the highest margin. We're not allowed to say what it is because it's so high, other people get upset.
All right. Also,
allegedly.
We have a free newsletter, free 99. If you're wanting to stay up to date with all these tournaments and everything else relating to pickleball, check it out. It is in our description. It is free to sign up.
Yeah.
We're just trying to grow it, and so check it out. All right, Jimmy.
Yeah. Real quick, the stack party.
Yes, sorry.
Pickle Mania, just real fast. It is 21 or older. Just a heads up.
Okay. Do we have fake IDs we can hand out to people?
Yeah, I mean, just show up. It's at Second Summit Hard Cider Company.
Do you remember Mac Mittens?
Yeah, dude. Freaking.
Do you think Mac Mittens will show up?
Yeah, Zane.
We can throw some of those out.
Little Zane Affleck action.
Yeah.
I don't think Zane Affleck should be around alcohol. So, just saying. Probably part of his probation.
Okay. Thank you to Stack for throwing this party. They have the best clothes. Go check them out at stackathletics.com. Use code KOTC as well. All right, Jimmy, we have so much to talk about, so we will do our best. And guys, there's a lot of topics that are just going around, and some people say, why did you not talk about this? Why did you not talk about that? Yeah. We try our best to hit most of the relevant things. Sometimes things fall through the cracks, but we do try our best to talk on the most relevant things that we remember.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that, there's a lot of things that happen throughout a week. It's crazy. I don't think people realize how many happen throughout a week. And then there's a lot of things that are rumors, which is what, that's our specialty.
Yeah.
Speaking of that. Did you see James Ignatowich's recent post?
I did not know.
His story? He said he's now looking for partners for Vegas.
Oh, I did see that. Somebody posted in the Discord, yeah.
For mixed and men's?
Yeah.
There's rumors circulating, obviously, and we love to speculate because that's fun. Mm-hmm. Did him and Anna break up?
So it's not my place to speak, so I will most likely not. But from the looks of it, it does appear that way.
He did have his luggage at one point at an event, full suitcases and everything.
All packed up and ready to go.
All packed up the day before an event actually ended. That would kind of be like the most boss move ever, to kick him out during an event. I don't know if that happened, by the way, but I'm going to pretend it did just because it makes for a good story.
Okay.
And maybe they just broke up their partnership in terms of their on-court partnership. Mm-hmm. Because her and Alshon are playing so well, but her and Alshon are now playing Vegas together as well.
Gotcha. So James and Anna, they were signed up to play this tournament.
They are playing Salt Lake together.
Oh, they are?
They are still playing Salt Lake together. They're still showing on the bracket. They're actually the 1 seed.
Okay.
But they're also scheduled to play Vegas, and now he's looking for a mixed partner for Vegas.
Gotcha.
So it wouldn't be the most crazy James Ignatowich thing in the world for him to be like, hey, you and Christian played really well together. I haven't been playing a lot. My shoulder hurts. You should continue playing with him. I don't know why, but that's he's just weird enough to say something like that. Because I think he actually is pretty self-aware. But with that being said, let the rumors fly. Let the speculation fly.
Yeah, there have been a lot of those for the past, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And so.
Anyways, I don't know, but.
Okay, so this last week, PPA, this current week is week 4 out of 6 of the PPA MLP Tour grind.
Yeah.
So nonstop pickleball week after week after week after week.
Yeah.
So this is the 4th out of 6. So 2 more weeks after this one, and then it slows down for a week or so. But this last weekend, PPA was in Bristol, Tennessee, which is a beautiful place.
Where did you stay?
Impossible to get to.
Where did you stay?
Courtyard Marriott.
I heard literally I saw a lot of pictures. People were getting on these little tiny planes.
Yeah.
To fly into Bristol.
Yeah, it's a small airport.
Yeah, that Tri-Cities airport. You had some delays.
Just out of Salt Lake actually, but yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Oh, good. Caitlin Kerr was saying she had delays 2, 3, 4 a.m.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's
weather
gorgeous.
Is beautiful over there. Yes, kind of rural area.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a slower way of life, if you want to call it that.
Right by Boone, North Carolina.
Yeah, somebody said it was 50 miles away.
Home of, who's the home of Boone, North Carolina?
ESPN, right?
No, Bristol, that's in Connecticut. Bristol, Connecticut.
Oh.
Boone is the home of the Appalachian State.
Gotcha.
Football team.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, so PPA Bristol, they were plagued slightly.
Also, real quick, the home of Kat from the Pickler. She's from Blowing Rock, North Carolina. If anybody knows where that is.
I have never heard of that place.
Neither has she, I'm sure, even though she lived there. Okay, moving on.
All right, PPA, they were somewhat plagued by weather. They had multiple rain delays.
There's an indoor facility right next to it.
Yeah,
right?
it was attached to it essentially. Yeah, but they only had limited number of courts, and so even if they did move indoors, they weren't able to accommodate everyone.
That makes sense.
But there were crazy storms. Rain poured down, and I don't know if you saw, but the Vulcan ball actually blew away, and they had some employees trying to hold it back, and those employees almost flew with it, and eventually the big blow up ball.
Yeah.
And eventually it popped. It hit a pole and it popped.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That'd been sick if the employees floated off.
Yeah. So
kind of
crazy weather. Also, so they had the dedicated pickleball courts, and I'm not sure the entire backstory with them. I don't know when they were painted, but apparently most of the courts were painted a few weeks ago or a while ago, but they didn't add sand to the paint.
So I have heard that those courts were slick.
So very slick. So the ball skipped a ton, and this was not the ball's fault.
Yeah.
Even the championship court was very slick.
Yeah, I mean,
and so it's very tricky playing against people who.
Yeah, I mean, Kwang Duong was saying that, when he. By the way, we're friends now.
You and Kwang?
Yeah.
Do you call him QD? Do you call him Wing?
Well, I'm the one that started the QD. That's me. I started that nickname, just to be clear.
Because you couldn't pronounce his name.
No, because I didn't want to butcher his name because I have respect for his heritage.
Exactly.
Okay, so QD when he got, so I mean, let's talk about men's singles real quick.
Okay.
He got pickled by Fed, 11-0, 11-0, and he made a post on Instagram, which he took down.
Him or his dad?
I assume he runs his own Instagram and his own social media because some of the stuff he says on Facebook is hilarious. So he made a post and essentially said the courts were super slick, no excuses, Fed outplayed me, but it's tough when the courts are slick and to play against that hot paddle. Something like that. I don't know the exact words. I'm butchering it, but that was the gist of it.
Yeah.
Fed was playing with the Gen 3.
Yes.
The Gen 3A, whatever.
Yeah.
And he was hitting nukes.
Yeah.
And so I think he does deserve credit because he did play very well.
I'll say Kwang has played Fed multiple times, probably 4 or 5 that I'm aware of, and Fed has always handled him very well.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think that, there's a little bit of excuse making there. With that being said, he was not the first or the only one. I actually had somebody text me the night before the tournament saying, we just played on the side courts and they are so slick it's not even safe. So that was definitely a problem throughout the tournament. And like you said, and they were saying the same thing that you just said. They were saying that every ball skips like it's hitting a line.
Yeah. And towards the end, so singles, mixed doubles go on, and then the last day, a lot of the players actually started refusing to even play on those courts. I think the first 2 days, a lot of the players, they didn't like to play on those courts, but they still did. But the third day, players just refused to play on those courts.
Yeah, I actually heard Grandstand was the best court.
So all the grandstands, the GS and the S courts were those were painted.
They were painted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So PPA came in and they painted those.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the other ones,
those were already
championship and the side courts were were rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So so men's singles, just I mean, there were some battles in men's singles. Obviously Fed and QD. He ended up pickling him, which was crazy to see.
And that was a semis.
That was in the semis, yep. Ben had a really good run. One guy I got to give a shout out to, just because he's my guy, and he had a really great run. Usually plays APPs next gen, but Jack Foster.
Yes.
Beats Eric Roddy 1-4. Beats Hayden 6-5, and then he takes Tyson to 3, and he actually led Tyson in game 3 and lost 11-8.
I saw that.
Yeah, but that's a great.
I saw the score.
Yeah, that's a great run for him. Grayson Golden beat Jack Sock. The game point, match point was a little bit questionable. The replay was not conclusive. Grayson called it out. Jack thought it was for sure in. The announcers thought 100% that the ball was in, and even the replay showed it in, and then they upheld Grayson's call.
So is Grayson a cheater then?
I don't think Grayson's a cheater, but I think that, again, when things get tight and the score gets close,
September 1st cannot come quick enough.
The lines get a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
But that's a big win for Grayson. I mean, 11-9, 12-10. Grayson is one of those guys that he doesn't lack confidence, and he plays a different style, and his style is essentially that he is going to hit the ball through you.
Yeah.
Right? He's not playing the cat and mouse.
Yeah.
And the dude has insane power. He's a freak athlete. And I think that that's a new style of pickleball, especially in singles. He's one of those guys where he's a singles guy that's coming onto the scene, and it hasn't translated to doubles yet.
Yeah.
But QD was the same way, right? And now QD is starting to translate it to doubles. And I think we're going to see that from some of these other guys, including Chris Hayworth.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Okay, so Ben plays Fed in the finals.
Yeah, so Ben Fed get to the finals, and I mean they're mirror images of each other. They play a very, very similar game, and Ben is just better at it right now. I think he's 4-0 against Fed this year.
How much of that is mental?
Well, I think it becomes very mental. I mean, Fed was extremely frustrated in that match. There was a couple line calls. Ben challenged the first one. Ben challenged Fed it ended up going Ben's favor, and Fed got pissed. Then Ben challenges another one, and Fed walks up to the ref. I don't know if you saw this, but Fed walks up to the ref, and he goes, if you reverse that call, I'm taking my stuff and I'm leaving. And so then they show
English or Spanish?
English. So they show the replay, and Ben was right. The ball was clearly in. I mean, it was on the replay. It was clearly in. Now it was.
So did he get up and leave?
No. So here's what happened. The call actually was upheld. I don't know how. Dave Fleming, I thought, was going to come out of his seat. He said, Dave Fleming, he goes, they missed it. They're wrong. They missed it. And he was fired up about it. Yeah. He couldn't believe that they actually upheld that call. You know, I don't know. Maybe Fed's threat worked. I don't know. Just kidding. I don't think that was it. I really think that they just don't have a conclusive, the referees just don't have a conclusive replay.
Yeah.
And so they've got to stick, if they're not 100% sure, they got to stick with the call.
Yeah.
But that one looked pretty freaking close, pretty easy to call. And so, no, he did not get up and leave, but then he lost, I think, the next point and the game was over. So Ben, with a big win over Fed, you know, people talked and said to us, they said, will Ben ever win another?
Literally last pod, so many people wrote in and said, will Ben ever triple crown again?
Yeah.
And he was. He had the chance to. Yeah. He is the closest player that has the chance to triple crown at this moment.
Yeah. So he wins the singles. And then in the bronze, QD wins the first game and then rolls his ankle.
Gotcha.
And has to withdraw. And so Tyson ends up with the bronze.
Gotcha.
So anyways, yeah. Women's singles, I think we should talk about that because we didn't give it enough credit last time.
Okay.
Brooke Buckner is on a tear.
Yep.
I mean, there's no other way to put it. Now, Annalie was not in the field, but I think that Brooke has surpassed Catherine. I think that Catherine has taken a couple L's lately, and Brooke seems to be closing in on that number 2, number 3 spot. I think that Leia is still up there.
She is using a Joola.
She is using a red hot Joola, but she also has very, very good strokes and very good form, and she is a mother of 3.
3, yeah.
Mother of 3 out there. I mean,
I thought 2 was
I thought 2. Brooke Buckner, ladies and gentlemen. Have you ever seen her husband?
I thought 2 was the prime amount of kids.
Have you ever seen her husband?
I have not.
Is it Brenson Buckner?
I'm not sure.
Who played in the NFL?
Is it?
No, there's no way.
I don't know. Let's say it is.
Do you know who Brenson Buckner is?
I do not. Nope.
Okay. I'm not surprised. Anyways, it's not, I'm sure. But Brooke Buckner, congrats. That was huge. I mean, she beat Catherine. I mean, look at this road. The road to the Final Four, as we like to call it.
Okay.
She beats Amelia Schmidt, the Aussie, who is represented by Sam Flaxman. Shout out, Sam. He actually just texted me because I ignored like 3 texts in a row of his. My bad, Sam. Beats Lacey Schneeman 12-10 in the third. Beats Catherine Parento 7-8.
Yep.
Beats your favorite player, Salome.
My girl.
Your girl. And then she beats Caitlin Christian.
Yep.
I mean, that's a tough road. Also, did you see what happened at the end of the match with Caitlin?
I saw she was a little frustrated and the paddle maybe slipped out of her hand.
Right into the fans. And then did you see what happened right after that?
The Onisha
trips over the net.
Almost takes a spill.
Yeah. Oh my.
Yeah.
What a crazy sequence.
She just wanted to be involved.
Yeah. Onisha's like, hey, I need my airtime. I've been working hard.
Yeah.
Let me get on camera.
Exactly.
I actually think these refs hate being on camera.
I think some of them enjoy it.
I think Onisha's the best ref.
She's good.
H is good too.
They're good. Yeah, he's good.
I mean, they're all good, but like I think they all take it very serious and they all work very hard at their job.
So this is funny to a lot of people, but I used to ref college tennis many years ago, and
with your line calls,
with my line calls,
Damn.
Apparently,
I've been sick if you ever did a Rettenmeyer match. He'd have had to get into college for that, but keep going.
Anyways. So I know what you're saying. I know what they go through to an extent, but if there's no drama, it's kind of boring. You kind of like to be involved a little bit to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's refs that love being involved, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's just call it what it is. Alan Roman wants the camera time.
Like, you want to be involved. You want to be.
Alan Roman's foot fault on Leia Jansen was bullshit. I'm still going to say it. It was horrible. He wanted to be involved.
You want to be involved. You want to be making the right decision.
But I think that they want, yes. But I also think that, like, if a match is boring, and this, I mean this very sincerely, if a match is boring and you're a referee, right? I do think that maybe you can get, like, almost lull yourself to sleep in a way.
Exactly.
And so if a match is exciting, you can get locked in just like a player can get locked in. And then you're at your best in making calls.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. I love it when players, when myself, we get foot fault called or kitchen because it means they're paying attention.
Remember when Onisha called you for those foot faults
She was wrong.
At TOC?
Yeah, she was wrong.
No, she wasn't. The replay showed.
On the first one, she was.
The replay showed she was right.
On one of them, she was.
You said, I still remember you said, I've been called for a foot fault in 5 years.
Oh.
And she said, she didn't say anything, but I know in her head, I heard it. Onisha, I heard it. You said, well, today's the day.
All right, moving on. Okay, mixed doubles.
Yeah, mixed doubles was honestly, it was my favorite event of the weekend.
But first, let's give a big shout out to our next sponsor of this segment, which is C&D Pickleball Nets.
C&D, nothing better than C&D for mixed doubles.
Tell us about them really quick.
Especially when we're about to talk about Team Jacques May.
Okay.
Can we call it Jacques May? That sounds bad.
Who are you referring to?
Jackie, Kawamoto, and Jaume.
Gotcha.
Jacques May?
Jacques May.
But if you spell it out, it looks bad.
Gotcha. C&D, they make the best pickleball nets out there. Yeah. Go check them out. Their website is bestpickleballnets.com.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. When that hurricane rolled through Bristol and that ball floated away,
the nets did not float away either.
C&Ds would have just been chilling.
Yeah.
Chilling like a villain in the same spot.
Yes.
Because that's what they do. Like, we've had crazy weather recently in Utah. Last night.
Mm-hmm.
How'd your net do? Did
not budge an inch.
Your net is great. I mean, I'm talking like it was like gale force winds yesterday here in Utah. We've had flooding. We've had this crazy weather, which, by the way, Utah Pickler Open is indoors.
Yep.
And yeah, there was no issues, right? They're the best nets. They don't use freaking nuts and bolts. It's all welded. It's high quality. You got insane warranties on it. I mean, everything that they do is top notch. So if you're going to put a court in your backyard, you're going to build a facility, you want to, something that's going to last.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing that irks me more. Let me just go on a tangent. When I see somebody build this beautiful court in their backyard, and then they have this freaking $100 net, and they're like, oh, well, we're going to play basketball on the court too, so I want to be able to move it. Well, guess what? You can move the C&D.
They have wheels.
You just spent $30,000, $40,000 on your court, and you're going to spend $130 on your net, or you're going to buy some chintzy other type of net, right?
Yep.
So yes.
Go check them out, bestpickleballnets.com. Use code KOTC. They will get you the best price possible. All right, moving on to mixed doubles.
Mixed doubles. Wild. Crazy. You did not play.
I did not play.
You could not find a partner? You just chose not to?
It's a little bit longer story than that, but essentially in a nutshell, I was not planning on playing this tournament.
Oh, that's right.
And then I got asked to play with Noe, and I dropped Noe for a previous tournament. And so had I dropped him, that would have been the second tournament that I dropped him for, and I would have felt extremely bad. And
that's
so
kind of noble of you.
I know. I flew out there, spent all that money on the flight, and played with Noe.
But you guys played well.
We did great, yeah.
When we get to men's doubles, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But is that a partnership we may see in the future?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, I like him a lot. He's tons of talent.
Did he have all his kids there?
He did not. No, he was with his girlfriend. Yeah.
Okay, but I think they got a lot of kids, or she's got a lot.
She's got kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's like a what's that show? Instant Family.
Yeah, something like that.
He's a young guy.
I think he's 26 or 27.
Is he more handsome than Jay?
I mean, he's got a thicker accent.
Like, he's a better Frenchman than Jay, right?
He was. I think he was probably a better tennis player.
Like, should he?
He was good in tennis.
Should he have the Flying Frenchman nickname?
We'll do a poll.
Yeah, we'll do a poll. Who is the true Flying Frenchman?
Yeah.
Okay, so mixed doubles. Let's get right into it.
Okay.
First of all, we had some interesting pairings, right? We had a Leia Jack Sock pairing. We had a Jackie Kawamoto and Jaime Martinez Vic. We had a Hayden and Jesse played together. Bobby Oshiro, Wyatt Stone. So, and then we had the Anna and Alshon. So, I mean, obviously the favorites are always going to be Ben and Annalie. And they kind of had a very, we'll say, not as tough of a draw, at least to the quarters. They had Martin and Caitlin Christian. They had Zoe and Pablo. And then they had Fed and Rachel in the quarters, which Fed and Rachel's tough. But the match I really want to talk about. So, Jaume and Jackie played QD and Alex Trong in the first round. And they got, the second round. They got blasted in game one. I think they lost 11-5. They looked out of sorts. They looked like they'd never played together, which I don't think they had. And then they got locked in. And Jackie, I mean, they end up beating them 4-0 in the next two. Yeah. Beating them in 3. And it seemed like Jaume figured out her patterns. He figured out how she likes to play. They actually switched a couple times where she would play the left. Yeah. And they got locked in. So then they move on and they play J-Dub and Georgia, who is tough. Yeah. It's a really good team. And they end up beating them in 3. 12. Now, there was a rain delay in the middle of it. But they beat them 10-12, 10-12, 12-10, 11-9. Okay. Which was, I mean, that's a massive win. Don't you think?
Yes.
Yep. So then they move on. This same team now. Then they move on and they get Hayden and Jesse. So it doesn't get any easier. And they beat them 9-11, 11-4, 11-6. I mean, that's crazy. And then they get Anna and Alshon, who are rolling through everybody. I mean, Anna and Alshon were freaking smacking people. I mean, they beat Jack and Leia 6-4, which, by the way, Jack and Leia beat Glosman and Tyson 5-3. It was not Tyson's best weekend.
He got a third place in singles.
He did, although QD pulled out after he had won game one. But he's good at making adjustments. So we get to this match. Anna and Alshon, Jackie and Jaume. It was played on Saturday morning. Saturday morning.
Saturday morning because of the rain delay.
Because of the rain delay. Yep. And all I'm going to say is pickleball's changing. We saw it with men's doubles. We've seen it with women's doubles.
Men's singles.
With men's singles. We've seen it with women's doubles. It's changing. And what I mean by it's changing is that it's becoming more powerful. It's becoming more athletic. It's way more offensive than it's ever been, right? There was a point in time not too long ago, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you'll agree with me here.
I will.
I know you will. There's a point in time not too long ago where you essentially would get to the kitchen line and you would find an opponent's weakness. Say you could hit the ball to their left foot. Excuse me. And you would pound that weakness until they made a mistake, pop the ball up, you put it away. Right? I mean, Ben and Colin have made a living doing that. Right? I felt like Simone and Lucy made a living doing that back in the day. And it wasn't a super offensive game. It was make as many balls as you can and you would force your opponent to make a mistake in a way, but you would make a lot of balls. Now, everybody's pulling the trigger. And they're pulling the trigger with new paddles, new power, and these right side guys, when we talk about it all the time, but the right side guys, I mean, Alshon's a freaking right side guy. Christian Alshon. He would never be a right side guy 18 months ago. Yeah. And these right side guys are powerful. They're attacking. They have big backhands. They're not just there anymore to set up the left side guy. Well, it's the same thing in mixed. The female is not just there to make balls and set up the guy anymore. And if you have a female that can attack, I mean, look at Annalie's been doing it for a while, right? Yeah. With her backhanded poach. So Jackie doesn't have a ton of power. I mean, we can call it what it is. I don't think she'll be offended. Jackie's not this physical specimen. I think she's 5'3", right? But when Jackie gets to the kitchen line, she is a witch. And she puts people on a string.
A witch.
And the way that she manipulates the ball at the kitchen line, it shows that, like, she's offensive. Like, if you want to know how to be good, if you're not a good athlete, and I think she's actually athletic, but what I'm saying is if you're a pickleball player and you're not like an amazing athlete and you're not 6'4" with a 7-foot wingspan, and you can't hit a drive 90 miles an hour, go watch Jackie play. Because what she does when she gets to the kitchen line, first of all, she never misses a third. In fact, every single return was hit to Jaume. Why? Because Jaume may miss a third. Jackie does not miss thirds.
Yeah, there might be a little bit more to that. But yes,
sure. And you want Jaume to drive, and maybe there's other things, right? Yeah. You don't want him to poach.
Yeah.
So what you do is you occupy him. Yeah, there's other things. But what I'm saying is she doesn't miss a third, number one. Number two, when she gets to the kitchen, she moves her dink pattern. She moves the ball around, and she goes on offense from the kitchen line. And it's not just speed ups.
Is she the one on Mad Drops or Hustlers?
She's on Hustlers.
Okay.
Jade's on Mad Drops. Okay. But Jade's the same way.
Gotcha.
But dude, she had Christian on skates. Did you see how many dink freaking winners she had on Christian?
I did not watch it.
She was literally hitting cross court dinks, like breaking his ankles that are clean winners.
Yeah.
And then she would rip one down the line past him because he would overplay.
Yeah.
And so I guess my point is there's different ways to skin a cat, as they say. And you don't have to truly, just have this power player. I mean, Anna Bright has power. Annalie has power. Jackie does, and Jackie has good hands too. But she does it a little bit different. She's got this top spin roll dink that's disgusting. And so I just feel like she goes on offense in a different way.
You going to be all right, man?
But she still goes on offense.
How many pictures of her do you have?
Oh my gosh, that's creepy. You sound like freaking Klaus. Anyways, her and Jaume were really good together.
They got semis, right?
They got to the semis. So it's 10-10. This is what's crazy. It's 10-10 in the third. And Christian, I think it was Anna or Christian, one of them throws up a lob. And Jackie runs it down. And Jaume calls it out. The replay looked like it was in. I don't know. Kind of an interesting call because when the Black Bears had their issue, Jaume was one of the most vocal people. And so, anyways, just saying that sometimes these things come full circle, and whether your intent is bad or not, we're all put in a position where we have to make a tough call.
Yeah.
And, if you're going to be the morality police. Now, I mean, and obviously Travis was the loudest and most vocal about that. We haven't seen one of his matches in 3 months because he hasn't got out of the first round. But if he ever did, maybe, he would also be put in that situation. But unfortunately, he's playing on court 32 at,
somehow, some way he's going to attack me for that.
11 o'clock on a Friday, and nobody's actually watching his matches because he's back on a plane by noon. So anyways, great partnership. I actually think that it'd be interesting if they stick together. I don't know. I know Jaume has a bunch with Mary coming up, but yeah, I think that's a good new partnership. I think Anna and Christian is fire.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been saying for a while that Christian's the second best male mixed player in the world.
Behind Ben.
But is he better than Ben if he played with Annalie? He could be. I don't know.
Yeah. So much to talk about. Just recapping mixed doubles, Ben and Annalie, they roll in the finals. They win 3-0.
Yeah. So they win 11-3, 11-1, 11-4. Jackie and Jaume win the bronze over Declan and Tina. Another team, Declan and Tina, that's really been like just consistent all year. They've been right there all year.
By the way, I think me and Declan are good now.
Why?
I talked to him. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
And what happened?
I just went up to him and I'm like, bro, we good? And he was like, yeah.
That was it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Shame on you.
I know. I should have said that. Just kidding.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you guys worked it out.
Yeah. So.
That's great. I think Declan's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's got a new pod.
Yeah. Raising the bar.
Raise the bar.
Lower the bar.
No. Lower the bar. Do the limbo. Raise the bar. Listen, here's the thing that I'll tell people is I don't have any, I'm not scared of competition.
Yeah.
I think what we do is different and it's unique. And so people are like, why do you guys always talk? Would you talk about another pod? Why would you? Dude, the space is big.
Yeah.
Go do your thing. So go check out their pod. It's Ryan Dowagen and Deckel Bar. It's called Raise the Bar. They put their mic on the bottom of a paddle and pass it around.
Gotcha.
Yeah, check it out. Good stuff. Anyways.
Okay, moving on to, let's go.
Women's? Men's.
Men's first, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Men's doubles. Todd Folt.
The GOAT of
the
MLP.
GOAT of MLP. And Michael Lloyd, the GOAT of stack. Butterfly tat himself.
Okay.
Thigh tat.
They played J-Dub and Dylan, second round.
Yeah, you can't give the J-Dub and Dylan like it was too early because I think it was like noon.
Yeah.
Noon. And they beat him.
They beat them 11-9 in the third.
Yeah. What's crazy is they won 11-6 in the first, and then they lost 1-11 in the second game. So you're like, okay, J-Dub and Dylan are going to roll.
So those guys might have something against Todd Fote's game. Just something about it might match up well or poorly for them. I played with Todd Fote against J-Dub and Dylan, and we lost to them, I think, 11-9 in the third, or
Really?
11-8,
Yeah.
and it was close.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's his play style or something, but they were able to get the win. Todd Fote and Michael Lloyd. Congrats to those guys.
Yeah, that's a big win for them. So congratulations to them. And then they ended up playing Jay and Pablo, and they lost.
They
game
went
one.
3, but then they got killed in
the
game
third.
3.
Yeah. So Jay and Pablo had a pretty good.
Real quick, did you see the Jay and Pablo versus Rafa and Eric match?
Yeah.
Rafa Hewitt
Went
and Eric?
3.
It went 3, and it was very chirpy.
Very, very, very chirpy.
So I like Jay. He was on my MLP team.
Yeah.
We're on the same Vulcan team.
Yeah.
But I think he might be getting a little bit of a reputation of almost headhunting. I would say the past 6 to 8 months, I don't know if he's known for it, but he's been known to
He went in
make
Ignatowich,
contact,
we know.
have the ball make contact with the other person's body.
Yeah.
Quite
He
a bit.
went at Shelby Bates, allegedly. He's had a few of those.
Yeah.
A few of those where he's done it it seems that he's done it out of frustration. So yeah, it was very, very chirpy.
Very chirpy.
Rafa obviously is very chirpy. Eric Onsens is very sure of himself as well. And then Pablo's never going to back down from a fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, that match was intense. It was chirpy.
Yeah, Jay, he body bagged Rafa 2 or 3 times, and then Rafa got him once, Jay once, and on one of the times that Jay hit Rafa was trying to pull a card on unsportsmanlike conduct for Jay hitting Rafa. And there was about a 10 to 15 minute delay where Don Stanley had to come out and they had to figure everything out. During that delay, Rafa left the court. He went to his car, changed his shirt, came back, and then resumed arguing with the ref.
It sounds very Rafa-like. But hey, Rivara.
Pablo was going hard at Rafa.
Did he bring his wine, Rivara?
I did not see.
Who wins in a fight, Jay or Rafa?
Jay. Oh, Rafa might be scrappy.
Rafa's
he
a
might
unit,
have
bro.
He might have some stuff in his back.
Rafa's a
pocket.
unit from Idaho. He's got farm strength.
Yeah.
Jay, I don't know.
Jay's a big guy.
He is a big guy, but Rafa's not small.
No, but Jay's got him by at least 2 to 3 inches and probably
20 pounds.
Yeah, 20, 30 pounds.
Yeah, old Rafa probably was there, but I think Rafa has, dude, I'm just telling you, there's something about those Idaho boys.
Those farmer guys.
Right? Those farm, there's a couple different types of strengths.
On a farm?
No, Tyson's in like bougie Idaho.
Well, he is now, but did he grow up on a farm?
He grew up in Washington.
Yeah, but it was like,
I don't know, a small town.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
Gotcha.
I mean, Rafa is like, Rafa's kind of bougie Idaho now too. They live in a vineyard.
Yeah.
Rivara, check them out. Go by there. When Rafa brings his own bottle of wine to dinners. Our team dinners, he would pull out his own bottle of wine.
What a character.
Yeah. But anyways, that'd be a good one. Maybe we should do like
so once J-Dub and Dylan got upset, that kind of opened up the draw quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, after J-Dub and Dylan lose, you have Michael Lloyd Todd, you have Jay and Pablo, Schick and Sock, Scarpa and Dow. Let's talk about
Scarpa and Dow. They
USA.
beat Jaume and Tyson in 2 straight.
Not only did they beat them in 2 straight, they beat them 2 and 4.
Wow. Yeah, so that was a pretty big upset.
Yeah.
Though I will say, me and I played with Jaume. We played against Dow, and it was a close match.
Dude,
I think it went 3. So once again, there are some personalities or some play styles that just don't match up well with certain players.
Yeah.
And maybe that's one of them. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I mean, Dow. The thing is I think Scarpa is underrated in a way. I think that he's got a unique style, and for a one match, Scarpa can get you.
That's why you guys dropped him on the Bears?
He makes balls. No, that's not why. Scarpa makes balls, and Dow he's a big boy. Like I think Dow covers a lot of court. Do you think that it hurt Jaume to have to play that semifinal in the morning before moving on to men's?
It's tricky because you can look at it two ways, where he just played a match and he's tired. But once again, these matches, they're 2 out of 3 games. Unless your match is going 2 hours or whatever, even 1 hour, that should actually be a benefit, I would think. He's warmed up now.
Yeah.
Now, if this was the 3rd or 4th match of the day, then that might be a little bit different. But in my opinion, he only played 1 match, and so I would have thought that it would have allowed him to be a little bit more warm and ready.
Yeah, I agree. So we get to the finals.
Okay.
So QD and Alshon.
Hey, I played with Noe.
Yeah, Tyler, you played. Actually, you had a great 3-game.
Yeah.
Or against Ignatowich and De-weaponizing.
Yeah.
Did that get chirpy at all?
No. We actually played Hunter and Roscoe first round.
That's right.
And this was our first match ever playing together, and Noe played incredible, and we were able to win in 2 games. And then we moved on to play Andre and James.
And you beat them 12-10.
We beat them 12-10.
Second game, you had match point.
I thought it was 1 match point, but Noe said we had 2 match points.
2 match points.
Yeah. I think he missed a return. And then the second match point, I just got overly ambitious. It was 100% my fault. I didn't need to do it. And I tried to go for this winner, and I missed it maybe by 6 to 10 inches.
Out, right, yeah.
And so that was very deflating and heartbreaking.
And then they ended up beating you in the 3rd.
They ended up beating us, and I'm not joking. That match was closer to 2 hours. I think it was around an hour and 50 minutes.
Do you like those new clocks?
I do. They're cool. Yeah.
The movement?
Yeah.
Would you buy one of those watches?
I have not, but are they from Utah?
I think they might be.
I think they started in Utah, but they're big.
Yeah. So that was a good match.
That was like the old school pickleball. It was like grindy points.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's what you're going to get, right, with the SQ. And James is more of a counter, right? And Noe, we know this, like, he makes a million balls, but he's not super offensive yet.
Yep.
And so that's kind of his thing, is he's got to get more offensive. But, yeah, that's a grindy match, and that's a pretty good showing for your first tournament together.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah, because then James and Andre actually ended up beating Deckel and Hayden.
Yeah, which I actually thought Hayden and Deckel had a very good shot at winning that match, but they ended up losing in 3, but the 3rd game wasn't too close.
Yeah, 11-3 in the 3rd, and then they lose to Ben and Colin in the semis. And so Ben and Colin take on QD, makes his very first MLP doubles final, and Christian. And QD, first of all, his backhand dink was phenomenal.
Yes.
It was phenomenal in that match. And then him and Christian just freaking ripped, and they attacked. And they ripped, and they attacked. And so there was a point where I think it was 10-10. So Ben and Colin led, I think 10-7 in the 3rd. And it was like 10-8 or 10-9 for Ben and Colin. And QD kind of had a ball off to his left, and he hits a backhand like drive, and Colin just watches it go. And Ben reaches out last second, and it just hits his paddle and falls. And you just saw, but like it literally was hit right to Colin.
Yeah.
And at that point, it felt like you saw Ben be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, F it. And then Ben missed the return, and then Ben hits the final drive into the net, and they lose. I actually thought Ben played really well in that match, too. In fact, I think you could argue that he was the best player on the court, but unfortunately, player 2 and player 3 were QD and Christian, and then way down the list was player 4. And so, it's just a new style of pickleball. And again, we talk about this a lot, but Christian is a right side guy, and he is attacking from the right.
Yeah.
And he is aggressive from the right, and he's not just there to make balls. And Ben and Colin have made a living on where Colin just makes balls, and then Ben does what Ben does, but it's changed now.
It has. I would still say this was the first time they've ever played against them in a PPA tournament.
That's also true.
Ben and Colin normally don't do well against teams that they haven't played before. And this team was very aggressive.
Yeah, but
if Ben and Colin played them again, I think it would be different.
Well, I mean, of course, it's all, whenever you play somebody a second time, right? It's always easier. And then when you play them a third time, it's really hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be adjustments and there'll be things. But
for example, they play 10 times. Who's winning the majority?
I still think it's probably 6'4" Christian and
Really?
QD. But because here's the thing, dude. You can't. Yes, you can. There's strategy, and Ben and Colin are better strategists than anybody. I think that Colin gets a lot of credit for this, and it's probably earned. They're good strategists, but you also cannot make up for the talent gap, and there's a talent gap there.
Yeah.
There just is. It is what it is. Ben is very, very good. He's still the best player in the world, in my opinion. But then Christian is right there, and QD is getting there. And then I think that there's a little bit of a gap for Colin. And I don't think it's because Colin, we had Ben on the pod. I don't think it's because Colin isn't talented per se. I think it's because Ben said on our podcast, Colin doesn't work on anything except for to help Ben get better.
Yeah. I mean, this was over 6 months ago.
That's true. But what I'm saying is, and I'm sure maybe this has changed, but they have like a game plan in place and they have a strategy.
Yeah.
And that strategy has always worked. Now, do I think they're probably evolving and trying to change that?
Yeah.
Yes, but that's going to take time.
Yeah.
And maybe in 6 months from now, we're going to see, Colin Johns reaching in and hitting backhand flicks from the right side, right? We might. You never know. But for right now, they have to evolve, and everybody is catching them or passing them.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how they adjust. Because again, Ben's still only 25 years old. Colin's what, 30? So they're still young. Like they can still evolve their games, but the gap, I just feel like between QD and Alshon versus Colin is big, and the gap between QD and Alshon to Ben is closing.
Yeah.
So
I would agree. Yeah. So, yeah. Congrats to Alshon and QD.
You want to hear my QD story?
All right, let's hear
Why
it.
we're boys now?
Go for it.
So Klaus makes a post, and he takes all this credit in typical blowhard dipshit fashion. He takes all this credit for Zoe, who, by the way, he didn't even know who Zoe was, and he had to get video sent to him to even know who she was, for drafting her, for drafting Judith, and for Scarpa, who's not even on the team anymore. And he's like, these three made quarters and they're premier level players and blah, 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 which of course, dude, pump your chest, pound it, support your team, right?
I did hear about this little interaction, but I did not see it myself.
And then he says, whoever drafted that team, that guy is a genius or something like that. Giving himself all the credit for drafting that team.
Who did draft that team?
Caitlin Kerr drafted that team. He did have input from a consulting perspective, but he did not draft that team.
Okay.
He wanted another player, by the way, over one of those women. And Caitlin said, hell no.
I guess the only way to figure all this out is to have Klaus on the pod.
No thanks. I would not give that guy a platform. Anyways, I just told him, bro, you're a blowhard. You didn't draft that team. Of course, you're going to take the credit away from a female. Congrats to Caitlin for drafting a great team. And then he, of course, fired back,
So who won that argument?
Well, nobody wins an argument on the internet. In the end of the day, you're both idiots. And so neither of us won. He, of course, deflected and said, how's your team doing? Which, again, that's why he was probably a bad lawyer, because he can't stick to the facts. And then QD responded, jumped in. And he said, who knew that this would make me like Jimmy Miller? And so I feel like QD and I are boys now. That was the only interaction him and I
so
had.
you didn't actually talk to QD?
Well, that was all I needed. I got the confirmation from him.
But he called you out by name, me and Jimmy Miller?
Yeah.
All right. There
so
you
I feel
go.
like QD and I are boys. So if you want to, Salt Lake, you want to hang out.
But just to keep the record straight, Klaus's drafted team is higher than yours right now.
Well, he didn't draft the team. He did not draft the team. And guess what? I love Caitlin, but Caitlin's also no longer employed. Just saying. So, again, at the end of the day, do you want to draft a team that's pretty good, but you no longer work there?
Oh, I ran into Chris Patrick there.
Oh, you did? How's he doing?
Good. He asked me why I never texted him back, and also why you never got back to him.
Well, what? I did get back
Didn't
to him.
he text you?
We talked.
Oh.
Bro, I talked to him.
But I did not know Steve Deacon was the coach.
Yeah, he's a coach.
Coach of Vegas.
So here's something interesting about Vegas is they fired Caitlin, and then they went out and spent a bunch of money.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's a personality conflict. It's kind of a weird situation. Is the rumor true about Patrick? Chris Patrick, you watched the show. Let us know. Do you have a Selkirk tattoo on your calf that you covered up when you stopped using Selkirk? because that's the rumor.
Hopefully he listens.
So there's a kid. I got to tell you a funny story. There's a kid I went to high school with, BJ Gleaves. Okay?
We love these stories. Get ready.
This is a good one. BJ Gleaves. So when we were 16 years old, BJ Gleaves dropped out of school. Okay? Drops out, and he says,
Is this you?
no. He dropped out of high school. So him and I go to the mall one day, and he's telling me that he's working concrete. He's pouring concrete. And that eventually when he turns 21, he's going to drive a truck. And he's like, dude, I'm making $15 an hour. He's like, and he says to me straight to my face, we're at Sears, okay? I remember this very clearly. He says, I don't need school. I'm making $15 an hour.
Hey, adjusted for inflation, that's a lot of money.
That's right. He said, I don't need school. So we walk through Sears, and you know how like they have the TV section, they used to have a TV section? And then they would put like video games and you could play them. You know, they probably still do that. I don't know. I don't go to the mall anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not a teenager. Anyways, there's this game, and he looks up at the thing, and it's like this monkey, and it's jumping around and throwing bananas. And I said, what's that called? I said, monkey what? And he looks up and he goes, apioscopy. And I look up at it, and it's called ape escape. And he literally said apioscopy. And I looked at him, and I said, BJ, get your ass back in school, please. Please. That was literally not 1 minute after he said he didn't need school. Apioscopy. Now, whenever I see BJ to this day, I have to bring that up.
Did he go back to school?
No, he didn't. And he still works concrete, actually, funny enough. Still drives a truck. But point is, BJ that literally had nothing to do with the story I'm about to tell.
Apioscopy.
But BJ went and got softball. He started playing slow pit softball.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, dude, you pour concrete, you play slow pit softball, you get bad tattoos. That's just kind of like a circle.
So you're attributing Chris Patrick in that story.
No, I'm just saying he went and got.
That's interesting.
He went and got Easton.
So the deputy to the commissioner, that makes you think of him?
No, I'm just saying he went and got Easton softball bats tattooed on his freaking calf. And then they're like a specific type of bat. And then he never used those bats again.
Yeah.
Should have got protons.
Okay, moving on. Women's
Chris,
doubles.
I'm curious.
Women's doubles, real quick. There's no stopping Annalie and Anna Bright.
No, they're the best in the world.
Or Annalie and Catherine Parento.
Yes, Annalie and Catherine Parento, they're the best in the world. Anna Bright had a rough
Can we have them
finals.
enter a men's doubles tournament just once?
I'd be curious to see how they did.
Fun.
I mean, they'd probably lose to some guy like Wade Bryant and Xandrix Akub. But I don't know.
No, they'd make it out of the first round.
You think?
I think.
Okay.
Well, it depends on who they get.
Okay, well, let's just okay, Wade Bryant.
So I don't know those guys. So
okay.
I would.
Okay, just tell me. Chuck Taylor, Steve Deacon.
Steve is a senior.
I don't know. But would they beat him?
It would be close.
Luke Wasson and Evgeny Kim.
Yes.
Okay. Spencer Smith, DJ Young.
Probably not.
Dustin Boyer, Naveen Beasley.
Close.
Blaine Javenier, Donald Young.
Close.
Grayson Golden, Roman Esterejo.
I think they could get that one.
Okay. Kason Campbell, Johnny Pickleball.
I think they could get that one.
Okay. Casey Diamond, CJ Klinger.
I think they could get that one.
Eric Roddy, Ivan Jack Levick.
I think they could get that one.
James Delgado, Edward Perez.
Yes.
Yates Johnson, Wes Burrows.
Close.
Okay. And then Marshall Brown, Ross Whitaker.
Close.
Roscoe and Hunter.
Close. I don't know.
See, those are the first round.
Yeah.
Dude, it's hard.
Yeah.
But it would be fun to watch.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, women's doubles, were there any? So there was one match, Anna Bright versus Zoe and Brooke. Zoe and Brooke had 1 or 2 match points. They fought off like 8 or 9 match points, but they ended up losing.
Yeah, they ended up losing. They played great. I mean, again, Brooke was on fire. Zoe played really well. I mean, shout out to Zoe, whoever drafted her. Amazing job.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, women's doubles, it's tough to talk about.
I mean, you know, Judith and Eva had a really good run.
Yeah.
They ended up making it to the semis, and then they ended up finishing in 4th. And obviously, we're big fans of Judith Castillo, even though she doesn't watch the pod. So yeah, I mean, Tina and Leia were upset by George and Glassman.
I thought they would have gone a little bit further.
Who?
Leia and Tina.
Yeah, I did too. They lost.
They
I mean, Georgia and Glassman are a good team.
Yeah.
I think Leia and Tina are still a really good team. I just think that they got to figure that out. Dominique Schaefer.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know who Sophia Sewing is?
I don't.
Sophia Sewing sounds like the...
Do you have a high school story about this one?
No, but I feel like Sophia Sewing sounds like the name of like a...
Sewing machine?
A little girl in like a children's book.
Okay.
Right?
Go for it, yeah.
Don't you think?
A little bit.
Sophia
It's got
Sewing.
that ring.
Yeah, it has that ring to it.
Okay, so...
yeah.
Anything else?
No, I mean, it's women's doubles. It's tough, dude, because nobody's going to beat them.
Okay, moving on. Well, her record, I think somebody updated it, and it's like now 110
and one. Yeah. I mean,
for women's doubles.
She's ridiculous. And
In PPAs.
yeah.
All right, so as we said at the beginning of the show, there's so much drama going on. We are going to touch base on some of this. So paddles, or let's start with serves. So serving issue.
Yeah.
Did you see the line they were testing out?
Yeah. Okay.
So give us background there.
Okay. So the Players Council, which is made up of a bunch of old heads.
How many are on there? Is it?
I don't know how many are on there, but I do know that Ben and Colin, Lucy and Matt are on there, and I think Brooke Buckner's on there.
Okay. So I think Elise is also on there.
Okay. So again, it's made up. There's 6 people on there that we know of, if they're all for sure on there.
And Jay. I think Jay's on there too.
So that's actually fitting too.
Yeah.
So there's 7 people on there, and none of them are essentially the younger, newer generation of players.
Okay.
They're kind of the older, and they have a different style of play.
Okay.
And so they're trying to de-weaponize. They want to de-weaponize the serve.
So even more background context. Recently, I would say the past year, the serve has become a very, very, very hot debate, topic.
Yeah.
Some people are going crazy with it. And the main issue, in my opinion, is that it is not getting called when it is illegal.
Now, I was told that the referees are saying it's almost impossible to call because they don't know where the navel is.
Okay, I would agree with that. However, if you look at baseball umpires, they're looking at 100-mile-an-hour balls coming into this
corners and
this little tiny box, and they're able to make those calls.
They're also making $180,000 a year, so maybe they get their eyesight checked a little more often. Lock in.
Okay, regardless.
Angel Hernandez. You know who Angel Hernandez is?
I don't.
He should become a PPA ref.
Yeah. Regardless, a lot of these serves that are coming into play, they're very powerful, and some people are struggling returning them. And so a lot of the players are starting to get upset.
I heard QD aced Ben, but you couldn't see it on the broadcast.
When?
In the men's.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I mean, Deckel in the bronze match, the bronze mixed match, Deckel was hitting. Holy shit, dude! He was hitting some freaking
bombs.
Just nukes it. Yeah.
Yep. So I have zero issue if players are doing it legally. James Ignatowich, I always bring him up. He has the most powerful serve, and he does it 100% legal.
Yeah.
I have zero issue with that.
Okay.
It's the people that are towing the line of hitting it up here, kind of upward swinging.
Who?
There's a lot of players, especially singles players, that are coming into the sport.
And what happened was, so then MLP has a rule that essentially says, as long as you're hitting it in upward motion, they don't care where you make contact.
Yeah.
Right? So, like you see, I mean, here's a perfect example. If you watch Travis Rettenmeyer serve an MLP, he literally, I mean, he does hit it in upward motion. He follows all the rules of MLP, but he makes contact, I mean, way high.
Yeah.
Right? Deckel, those guys, Tyson, right? Tyson kind of crouches, and so it makes it tough. But again, so there's a lot of complaints about that. So this Players Council came together, it's my understanding, and they were trying to figure out ideas to change that. And one of the ideas was to put this 4-foot box that you have to serve in.
So 4 feet from the back line, and they have to serve it before that line.
Yeah.
So it's like essentially a tennis service box.
Yes.
Essentially, it's tennis.
Because right now you can essentially serve from the back line, and you can land anywhere you want in the court.
Yeah.
Like you can leap and land as far into the court as you want. I mean, you know.
What are you talking about?
I'm just saying that, like, right now there's no, as long as you make contact behind the line.
Yes.
Yes, you can hit it wherever you want.
Yeah.
So anyways, they want to do, like you said, a tennis service box type of thing. And they were just trying it out before a match. And Grayson Golden ended up getting it on video. And this
wasn't for a match, it was for practice.
For practice.
Yeah.
And this was literally just a test just to see if it even was feasible. So this wasn't like any sort of anything that's been like approved or anything that they're just coming up with ideas, and that's how obviously things happen, right? So I talked to somebody at the PPA, and his exact words to me were, "We are not going to make the game less athletic." He said, "Networks already don't love dinking. We're not going to make the game less athletic." So I don't think that we're going to see anything like that sort of service box in the future, but maybe they'll come up with some other solution. However, I don't have an issue with it. Now,
With the line?
I don't have an issue with the serves.
How it currently stands.
Okay. I didn't love the spin serve because I felt like the problem with the spin serve, the Zane saw, was that essentially you would take very mediocre players and they were able to master.
But couldn't the rebuttal be it makes the game more entertaining? You need better athletes to return those types of serves.
Like the Zane saw?
Yeah.
Sure, but I think that you're able to I think that mediocre players were able to get really good at one thing.
Yeah, but then wouldn't that just raise the level?
I mean, I think eventually, yes. Right? I think eventually, yeah, people would get used to it, and then you would come up with something else, right? I mean, Morgan Evans retired from pickleball after they got rid of that because, and he knows he was very good at that one thing, but the rest of the game, so I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, honestly, but that's been a huge hot topic.
Yeah.
They're big freaking serves all weekend. I mean, even guys like Ben and Fed were hitting massive serves. QD hits a huge serve. Deckel is nuts. I mean, Deckel has crazy power.
Yeah.
So,
but James, his is not even close to being illegal. He still generates more power than all those guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And so that's what I'm getting at is it can be done being 100% legal.
Yeah.
It can be done.
Yeah.
And so what's the solution? I think there's one simple, easy solution.
Yeah.
What is that? What do you think?
Drop serve.
No. I mean, Zane is all for that. I think
Zane is just trying to prove that the drop serve is not the answer because you can still rip a ball off a drop serve.
Yeah. I think they need to go back. So I don't know if you recall, but the very first tournament of this year, the Masters in Palm Springs, California, they implemented very strict guidelines where you had to drop the ball at like waist height, palm down.
Palm down, yep.
And they were calling a lot of people on it, and that was totally fine. Yeah. I think they need to go back where you just hold the hand out here in front of you and drop the ball.
I think a lot of people,
would be easy to call.
I think people did do that for a while, and then they kind of got comfortable.
Yes.
But yeah, the palm down ball drop thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know. I don't know what.
You can still hit it hard.
Yeah. Again, I'm not sure what the actual solution to it
And then the
all
other
is.
big thing, and everyone's talked about this before, but unless you're playing on CC, there's really not much space. Even on grandstand courts, there's really not much space to handle it.
That's the other issue is that they've got to figure out court spacing, especially for the pros, because it's not fair for, you have 5 feet behind you on one side.
Yeah.
And that's where it does become an advantage. But you could also hit any type of serve deep, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't know, dude. It's interesting. But then what do you do next? Like, do you have to, count to 5 before you can come to the kitchen line? Like,
no, that's stupid.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, again, it's just
as Lucy says, we have rules for a reason.
Yeah,
they need to be upheld.
Yeah, and
at this moment in time, nobody is calling the serves illegal when they are.
Yeah, and that's fine, but
it's not just one or two people. There's a lot of people, especially in singles.
Yeah,
especially in singles.
But the game's evolving too, and you have to evolve as a sport with the game.
Yes, I agree. But at
paddle
what point?
tech's evolving. The balls are evolving.
Like literally, when do we start introducing overhead serves? When do we start introducing tennis rackets? Like literally, you could use that same argument to. It's a very slippery slope.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is the game has evolved, and there's players that are serving, like you just mentioned, Ignatowich is your best example, that are serving within the rules and still hitting a crazy hard serve.
And that's fine.
Is it fine though? Because
I think it is.
I don't think that some of those old heads are happy with his serve. I don't think those guys are happy with how hard he can hit a serve.
I don't think it's him. No one's ever complained about James. It's these other people.
It's 100% going to happen. You don't think that Deckel or Tyson can hit a serve like James can?
No, they can, but theirs is very borderline, and a lot of people think they cross the line.
Yeah, but that's my point is like
But if you're doing it 100% legal, not even close to being
Okay,
illegal.
but you don't think that, I mean, these are the best pickleball players in the world. You guys are professional athletes.
Don't wipe anything off the table.
You don't think that somebody is going to be like, okay, fine, I'm just going to emulate James's serve and they're going to master it too. And then it's going to be the same situation. Like I said, people are good athletes. The game's evolving. And that's fine as long as everybody's fine with that. But then you can't complain a year down the road because everybody has these monster serves still and it's too hard for you to handle.
Yeah. The other thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration is mixed doubles in pickleball is big.
Yeah.
And when the guy is serving, or I don't want to be sexist here, but when one player on the team is serving extremely big to somebody else, oftentimes that other person is at a very big disadvantage.
We on the Black Bears, one of the things we like about having lefty is that our girls are not returning serves from, or had lefty, are not returning serves from guys in mixed.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big advantage.
There was when Morgan Evans, I can't remember who he was playing against, but
He was playing against Elise Jones?
Yeah, there was like a compilation where there's literally like 10 serves where they were almost aces.
Remember when Elise got aced and yelled shit?
Yeah.
That video?
Yeah.
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 That's what I'm saying. Like, it's tough.
And so the optics of that, they're not great.
No, it's not good for the
Okay,
sport.
moving on to the next drama. So there's not a ton of media companies per se. There's not a ton of well, there are a lot of influencers, but there's some more notable ones.
Yeah.
And so, for example, this last week, where am I even going with this? The Kitchen and another influencer were kind of going at it.
So the Dink, we'll talk about the Dink, obviously has their company, and you know they obviously have a presence, and then the Kitchen obviously has a presence, and the Kitchen and the Dink seem to not like each other. They seem to have a little bit of beef, and then some other people have beef with the Kitchen, people have beef with the Dink.
Who has beef with us?
Oh, everybody. I'm sure there's people that have beef with us. I'm sure that there's influencers out there or podcasters or whatever that have beef with us. But Memes of Pickleball posted a picture basically said, if you had to sit on what row of an airplane would you sit on?
Hey, you were in there with...
And I was in there with Colin.
Yeah.
And of course we were first class front row because obviously, and there's a lot of people that would love to sit between me and Colin. Okay. Just saying. Now, the Kitchen, Jared Paul, I assume it was him. It was from the Kitchen's account. He says he would sit between Steve Kuhn and Connor Pardo.
Yeah.
So that the three most influential or the three most
innovative
visionaries in all of pickleball could sit together, calling himself one of the three. Pretentious, a bit. And then a few people who probably felt like he was being a little bit boastful and pretentious fired back.
Okay.
One of them being Chris Calley, who has a podcast, Sorry Not Sorry. And Chris Calley says to him something along the lines of, I can't even remember what he said, but he fired back at him. And then Jared fires back and says, that's cute that you're, a guy that we get more views than in 2 days than you have on your entire platform, which whenever you like start throwing out like follower count, like that's like a, measuring contest. And I feel like you lose the argument immediately, but whatever. And then Chris comes back and actually made some comment about Jared and some sort of arrest. And then Jared came back and said, I advise you to delete that before. And this part did make me laugh. I'll be very honest. I don't have any beef with Jared, by the way. Let me just be clear.
Don't sue us, bro.
I've talked to Jared at events. I don't have any beef with him. He is who he is. He's built a Facebook community that's pretty big, and he does lots of giveaways, and so good for him. But he comes back and says, I can't even say it with a straight face. I'm going to call my friends at Meta and let them know that this is slander. And all I thought was, you got Zuck on speed dial, bro? Like, who are you calling at Meta? Like, what a flex. I'm calling my friends at Meta. Like, that's like your Tesla breaking down and you'd be like, I'm calling Elon.
Come on, Elon.
Yeah, like, yo, Elon, my Tesla broke down. Like, dude, what a weird flex. Anyways, they went back and forth. I think it ended up getting deleted. I'm sure there was some sort of cease and desist and stuff going on behind the scenes. I don't know. But
You're condoning this, aren't you?
I love it. Dude, I eat this stuff up. I absolutely eat it up. It was funny. They both had good comebacks. Calling your friends at Meta. Oh, and then talking about your follower count are classic. The kitchen is a big community. He's not wrong. It's a massive community.
And then the next day,
But then the next day he turns around and makes a post and says somebody who won a giveaway is bad-mouthing us.
so
And
a lot of
it's-
people thought that he was referring to Chris Kelly.
He thought he was friendly to Chris Callie, but it wasn't. It was another one. So he's got beef with somebody else now.
And that other person was in our Discord.
Yeah, the other person runs another podcast, and he had won a giveaway in 2021 or something like that, 2022 something, and they had beef. And this person said that he actually approached him and was like, they talked it out like adults, and they're all good now, which I thought was very noble and admirable. The post is still up. I think that if you work it out and things are good, you should probably delete the post. But again, the post had way too much engagement for them to delete it. Point is, this space is big, Tyler. There's plenty of room. There's room for the kitchen. There's room for the dink. There's room for us.
Is there room for us?
I don't know. We'll make room.
Yeah, we're just in this tiny little corner.
Yeah, we'll make it fit. There's room for Sorry Not Sorry. There's room for Zane, Picklepod. Probably not room for Graham and Tennis Sucks. Travis, keep doing your little weird, whatever it is called, boozing with Travis with your shirt off late nights, like whatever. Do your thing, honestly. Reminds me of Lauren McLaughlin's Pickleball After Dark.
Oh my gosh.
But there's room for everybody, and everyone has different personalities. They have different likes, different opinions. But yeah, dude, I do like the drama. It is funny. So I'm totally okay with the beef, right? Yes, you better say yes to that. Are you going to say yes?
Yeah, I'll say yes. Let's do
You
it.
are?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Wait, you did? Woo! Can we announce it right now?
I am playing mixed doubles. Well, it's not 100%, but I am playing mixed doubles with, how do you say it?
Salome.
Salome Davidze.
Yeah.
Vegas, let's go.
Tyler and Salome. Woo! Oh, it's indoors too, so you don't need to bring your sunscreen.
Can you come watch our match?
Love it.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
I'll be there.
Any other drama going on? Oh my gosh, the paddles.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of drama going on with the Joola Paddles right now because everybody says they are the exact same
Yeah.
as the paddles that were banned.
Yeah, so the Joola, essentially, there's a rumor out there that you pay $7.2 million over 4 years, and you can become an official paddle of UPAA. You don't have to do on-site testing. And it sounds like even though, your paddle is banned or not banned or whatever it is, they'll just push it through for you.
So
Now, we don't know if that's true or not true, but Jason Aspis said that all the paddle companies have been alerted to this. And those paddle companies, basically, some of them are saying, no, we haven't. And so there's a lot of misinformation going on.
Yeah, so a lot of the players, they're really fed up with the approval process and the amount of power that a lot of these paddles are getting away with. And so, yeah, it's a little bit frustrating to see some paddles get banned or not approved, and then other people do teardowns of these paddles, and they're identical to the paddles that were banned. And so that's where a lot of the issue, and this is more behind the scenes. This isn't getting nearly as much attention or exposure as it probably should or is behind the scenes, but this is a very, very, very hot topic within paddle manufacturers at this moment.
Yeah, for
very
sure.
hot.
I mean, it's crazy. It's
like there's a email thread that is crazy. If you saw what these manufacturers were saying,
and there's a
within,
huge
within one another,
Yeah, and there's a huge difference of opinion, and essentially, it's like Joola has the most money, so Joola is getting their way, and the players.
And it's not only that; it's that some of these paddle companies have been told something completely different.
Exactly.
And then the people that are telling them that they're either lying or saying, "Oh, that didn't happen," or "We didn't say that," or "This hasn't happened yet." And so, there's a lot of that stuff going on right now, and so,
yeah. So I mean, one thing that is interesting about it is, they're trying to UPAA, which again is redundant, right? United Pickleball Association of America is a little bit redundant. Anyways, UPAA is trying to come up with their own standardized testing and kind of come up with their own approval process.
Yeah.
But should that approval process be easier or include should the sponsorship money that the paddle company is paying have influence on the approval process, or should it be done independently?
I mean, of course, it should be done independently, but that's
the question. And some of these smaller companies aren't going to be able to afford that, right? Yeah. I mean, bread and butter, pickleball, or some of these other companies aren't going to be able to afford that. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I heard that Selkirk is. Yes, there's another one. I heard Kyle Yates left the Belair, by the way. I don't know if that's true. I mean, Selkirk, I heard, is pissed. And so what happens if the only person who writes a check is Joola?
If it's a big enough check.
Yeah, they don't really care, right? I mean, and the other thing with Joola that I think is funny is the players that are not with Joola are, like I literally had a player tell me over the weekend, they're like, yeah, I was just played a three gamer in round one. And then in round two, we're playing a three game match, and by the end of the third game, I just didn't have it in me to compete with the Joolas. Like that's what they said. They didn't even mention the players. It was just like to compete with two hot Joola paddles.
I am very against goggles.
Yeah,
but I would, if paddles continue to.
You going gogs?
If they continue at the rate they have been.
Rudy Project.
I might have to wear something.
I've got a pair. You want to try them?
No.
Okay.
All right. Okay. This is so long, but we are getting into questions. But thank you to our next sponsors of this segment, which is Vulcan Pickleball.
Yeah.
The V Pro Flight is the ball used in every single PPA tournament, all divisions, all levels, and also MLP. If you want to use the ball that the pros use, go check them out at vulcansportinggoods.com and use code KOTC or also Pickleball Central using code KOTC 0824.
We're going to break a record for length.
That's what she said.
I knew it.
Moving on. And also, Holy Performance.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Dude, they sent me all the new flavors.
Do you
Tropical, I'm telling you right now, Tropical Punch post game is delicioso, in the words of Dora the Explorer. Yeah. And the coconut lime, I mean, all of them, dude. Just, I'm gonna work out.
Go check them out. They are great for you. It carries all the
day one
electrolytes, nutrients, everything that your body needs and craves.
And I took that
you will not regret it. It's great not only for pickleball but also for training and your normal day-to-day life.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you for the sponsors.
By the way, Holy Performance KOTC, they're gonna do a giveaway here soon.
Okay, we're going to try to knock these out somewhat quick.
Yeah.
Are the schedules out yet for MLP New York? Yes.
Yes.
Alshan Duong won with power paddles and driving a ton. Is it too late to go back?
To what?
I don't know.
Going back to?
Yeah, I don't know what they're referring to.
Well, Kwang doesn't use a. He uses a freaking Selkirk. He's not using a overly hot paddle. One that people would consider overly hot. So I mean, imagine Kwang with a Joola.
Yeah,
it would be nuts. Now Christian's paddle, I actually have personally hit his new paddle.
It's very powerful.
It is very, very powerful, and it rivals the Joola.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. What is Tyler's favorite off-season activity? So during my 3 days of off-season, what's my favorite activity?
I think your favorite activity is eating Dippin' Dots and driving.
That's during season, man.
Driving your golf cart around.
I have a golf cart that I enjoy driving around, which I got a e-moto, which is supposed to be here tomorrow.
Really?
I'm stoked.
Don't die. Did you know that you have to have a license, like
You have to register it, yeah.
register? Yeah. Some kid in my neighborhood, he's like 11, got pulled over on a Ciron, and he got it freaking impounded.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Somebody said, any comment on DC's post about Vivian Glaws?
Yeah. So James Ignatowich made an IG post, and he thanked his whole team, right down to the freaking guy that ties his shoelaces. And he never mentioned Glassman. So I mentioned that on the pod. I thought that was weird. And then they pulled up a 2-year-old.
DC loves to listen to this podcast.
Yeah,
they will go through every single pod and find every little thing that we say.
And then DC pulled up a 2-year-old clip when Glassman was on Ignatowich's now expired podcast. And he called her an alpha. And they posted a highlight reel of her. So good for Glass. Glass is good, dude. She's getting better. Like
she was featured in memes the other day.
She was featured in memes because she literally almost like carried a ball and threw it into the front row. Craziest thing I've ever seen. But yeah, Glass is tough. She's freaking tall. She's strong, powerful. She's a good player. And but I was just curious why James wasn't giving her any props. He's her teammate.
Do you think Kyle McKenzie's running their YouTube?
No, he's
or
not.
Their social.
I think he's too much of a boomer for that.
How does choosing partners for tournaments work? Does someone set that up for you?
You just saw it live on the pod.
Somebody messaged me and I accepted
Salome messaged him while we were on the pod and said, hey, Tyler, do you want to play MLP Vegas? And Tyler said, let's do it. You saw it happen. That was it.
Yeah.
That was the first message she's ever sent you.
Yeah.
Did she respond?
Not yet.
Yeah.
What are good singles players like Hayworth and Golden missing to get results in doubles?
This is actually a great question.
Ben Johns as a partner. If they play with Ben Johns, if they play with a top 5 partner,
that's true.
They will have results.
Okay, I think good partners matter, but also go look at QD as a great example, okay? His backhand dink is phenomenal now. And
yes, but I would also counter with he's playing with a top 5 player.
He is, but he also focused on that.
Yes.
And he got really good at it.
Yep.
And whether Christian was on his team or not, he had Ben on skates.
One of QD's most underrated shots, lob. His lobs are the best I've ever seen. Better than Callan's.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
better than Callan's.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are the things that you worked on. You got to work on your kitchen game. Got to get a little bit better. Again,
singles is very different than doubles.
Yeah, you can't hit every ball through people. Now, you can do pretty good by hitting balls at people, but, I mean, these are professional players. Like, I've seen, you've seen how easily they handle hard drives.
Players being mic'd up on the courts, I think this would work great for exhibition stuff, but for every single match, I don't think players would like it.
Dude, they got rid of bench mics after Ben said that Tyra has a crappy drive. Like, didn't you play tennis?
Why the beef between the Waters, specifically Lee and Lucy?
I think that beef just comes from years of a rivalry.
Yeah.
Years of playing together. I mean, it used to be Lucy and Simone and then Annalie and Lee. What people don't remember is that Annalie and Lee actually weren't winning at the clip she's winning at right now.
No.
They were getting a lot of 3rd and 4th place finishes. They were not. It was Lucy and Simone who were winning every single. They were the dominant team for 2 years.
Yeah.
And so I just think that there's a lot of matches against each other, and so there's a lot of beef there.
Yeah.
There is a story about
you've mentioned
Matt Wright and going at Annalie, and then Stephen Waters getting pissed. But yeah.
What does a full day of eating look like for Tyler on average? You can answer too, but no pressure. Well,
Tyler,
I do not want to answer. I'll have my wife answer that. Jimmy's top 5 doubles players in order, men and women.
Top 5 men. I'm still going to say Ben.
Okay.
I'm going to say number 2 is Christian.
Okay.
I'm going to say number 3 is J-Dub.
Okay.
I'm going to say number 4 is Fed.
Okay.
And I'm going to say number 5 right now is, I'm going to say just because he slid in there, is Hayden.
Okay. Over Dylan.
Over Dylan. I think Dylan.
Over Matt Wright.
I think 6, 7, 8, 9 are all interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could go Dylan. You can go Matt Wright. You could go, I mean, dude, Tyson's probably getting pretty close. I think Deckel's probably in that 8 to 10. Women, I mean, it's Annalie and everybody else, to be honest with you, but I'll go Annalie. I'll go Anna Bright is number 2 right now.
Over CP?
Yeah, I think she's not playing with Annalie, and she's has better results playing with lesser partners. CP is 3, but I think that CP and Anna could be similar, but I think Anna's had better results in mixed.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't specify men's doubles or anything like that.
Yeah. So I would say CP is 3. 4 and 5, I think, is really interchangeable. I think it was Etta.
Mm-hmm, that's what I would say. Yeah, it was.
For a while. So I'd say Etta's right there. And then, 5 could be Rohrabacher. 5 could be Jackie or Jade. 5 could be Leia. 5 could be Pisnik. It just depends on the day, to be honest.
Somebody said, who wants to be Ben more, Alshon or Fed? I think they said beat.
Beat? Oh, Fed.
Well, they said B, but I think they meant beat.
Yeah, I would say Fed at this point.
Will this finally be the end of the Ben and Colin duo? If so, will Ben pick up Tardio?
I think Ben would be smart to pick up Tardio. I think him and Tardio would take a lot of adjusting because Ben takes so much court.
Yeah.
It would be a little bit interesting.
Yep.
Tardio plays more of a 50-50 right side guy. He's not a 30% right side guy, so they'd have to train together. But no, I don't think it's the end of Ben and Colin. I think that we saw Ben and Colin play more offensive in this recent tournament, and I think that they're going to try that for a couple months first.
Somebody said, is Alshon the best player in the world right now?
No.
Jimmy just answered that. I would also agree, no. He's very, very good, but the best player in the world? No.
It's still Ben.
Do you guys think that John's men's doubles dominance is officially over?
I mean, the dominance of what it was, yes. But, dude, I still think they're going to win a men's doubles title before the year is over, 100%. And, I mean, Ben just played in the championship of all 3 of men's, mixed, and singles. So it's not like and he won 2 golds. So it's not like he's done by any means. But I think that people, again, they have to evolve their game. By the way, what's the common denominator of Ben's loss? Colin. He's got to evolve.
Will Anna Bright ever beat Annalie in doubles? If so, with you?
Yeah. She already did. In mixed doubles?
I don't know. They said if so
she
with
did,
you.
With Rachel. Her and Rachel.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many tournaments. I would imagine she will get another win.
Yeah, at some point. At some point she will. I mean, but yeah, right now Annalie and Catherine are the best team in the world.
Tyler went shirtless on TV. Did you hear any ladies oohing and awing?
No, but I saw the comment on the memes post.
What did it say? Wait, which one?
This is the PG program, isn't it?
The one that I was on the plane?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard about it. I didn't see it. I heard about it.
Yeah.
Was that romantic or like...
It was sexual.
Sexual?
Tyler. It was like pornography.
Okay. Who was it?
I have... What, you going to go look her up?
Wow. I want to... It depends on if it's coming from a 100-year-old burner account or...
I'll be honest. I clicked on it. I couldn't tell.
All right. Will MLP ever start doing long-term contracts?
Yeah.
Not for another 2 years, I would think.
Yeah.
But it will come.
Yeah, I think so. I think they will. I mean, we're at 3-year deals right now. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
but that's mostly for PPA.
Yeah. Well,
Do you think MLP will ever do long-term contracts?
You mean like players stay on the same teams?
Yeah.
Long term?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think they will. I think they should.
Because as of right now, literally every single tournament, you don't know if you're going to get dropped or traded or anything like that.
Yeah, I think that they should. I think there should be some guarantees. Did you know that, true story, that someone tried to pick up the Brashas? Mm-hmm. A team tried to pick up the Brashas during the first waiver wire, and now they weren't allowed to play and they couldn't play. But the Brashas wanted some sort of guarantee about not being dropped. Mm-hmm. And I think we may see that. I mean, I think we may see some negotiations like that.
Yeah. Most overrated and underrated players, for me, Jack Sock and Daniel De La Rosa. I will stay out of this. Who do you think are the most underrated?
Wait, that's what you just said?
No, that's what this person said. They said most overrated and underrated player for me, this person.
Okay.
Jack Sock and Daniel De La Rosa.
Yeah, Jack's pretty overrated right now. He's definitely extremely overrated at this point. Like
Okay, give me 3 players that you think are overrated. 3 or 4
that are overrated.
overrated right now, and then we'll go into underrated
I think
on
that
both men's and women's.
I think Jack definitely kind of leads the pack of overrated men right now.
He's interesting because he is very hyped about, but he also has a very high ceiling that when he does play like that, he's good.
I actually agree with that. I don't think that he's like.
But his performance the last 4 to 5 months.
Yeah, I think Deskew is overrated personally. Again, I think Deskew is a good player, but I think that he started getting put into that top 5 category very prematurely. And this is what I'm saying. Like, he's still a great player, but we're talking like people are putting him like top 5. Some people are putting him top 3, and he's probably more like in the 10 to 15 range consistently, in my opinion. And then the other guy that I think is overrated. I mean, I don't know, dude. I think everybody else is pretty fairly rated. Augie is an interesting one because Augie's the same thing, in my opinion. Augie burst onto the scene, and he hasn't really done it. I mean, him and Jackie lost first round, and then Jackie went and made a semi with Jaume. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think Augie kind of burst onto the scene, but then he hasn't really had results since Palm Springs. So I would say he's pretty.
What was Palm Springs?
Masters. Was it Masters when he played with Tyra?
No, that was
Desert Ridge.
Ridge.
It was the Desert Ridge one.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what it was. Desert Ridge. Anyways, he hasn't really done a ton.
Right. Underrated players for men.
Men underrated. I still think Gabe is underrated, but he's getting there.
Okay.
Who
else?
He's definitely getting there. Gosh, this is tough. You know who a guy actually who I think is a little bit underrated is, I mean, De La Rosa is fine, but I wouldn't say De La Rosa is underrated. I don't know, dude. I think everybody is pretty much like in a good spot because the reality of it is your results speak for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like Pablo, for instance. Right, I thought Pablo was a little bit overrated when he played with Fed because all he ever did was get to play with Fed. But he has good results outside of Fed.
Yeah.
So he's proven that he's right where he probably should be. He's probably right in that 10 to 12 range.
Women, overrated, underrated.
I would say overrated women. I'm still not 100% sold on Rachel Rohrbacher.
Okay.
She has 0 results outside of playing with Anna Bright and playing with good players. Like I don't know. I'm not saying that she can't be a good player, but she didn't play great in singles, and her mixed results are actually really poor. Not poor, but they're not
she's
great.
on DC, right?
Yeah.
They're going to clip this.
I hope they do clip it. I mean, clip it.
And
yeah. I'm not saying her mixed results are like, but they're not great. She's always had great partners. So I would say Rachel's in that. I think that Jessie is vastly overrated at this point in her career.
Okay.
You know, I mean, she's still getting great partners, which is crazy to me. I mean, Hayden just played with her.
Okay.
And then
underrated, 2 underrated.
Underrated players. Tina Pisnik is still underrated. I think she's good. She's really, really good. Under the radar, I think Bobby Oshiro is a really good player. And if she would play with better partners.
Yeah, I could see it. Bobby and Millie.
Yeah, and Millie, if they would play with better partners, I think that those two would actually make a lot of noise. I still think Jackie and Jade are a little bit underrated. And then, yeah, I mean, the girls, the women, I don't want to call them girls, the women is getting way better.
It is, but there's still, I think, a gap.
There is. I mean, Kate Fahey, dude, she's had good results. She's starting to, better results. So.
Trump or Kamala?
Stop. I will never answer that on the pod.
You MAGA?
Kate Fahey, by the way. She, her and Yates didn't do terrible. Okay.
We'll try to wrap this up. 3 more questions. Do PPA contracts include health insurance? Boomer.
You get a stipend.
We get a stipend.
For health,
and then
right?
we're supposed to use that, which actually the health insurance stipend is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's the travel, which is really bad.
The health insurance stipend is higher than the travel stipend, by the way.
Yeah.
In fact, it's like 33% higher.
Yeah.
So if you know what the travel stipend is, then you can figure out the math.
Tyler, what are your thoughts about Eric Onsens and Rafa trying to play off the peg at Eric's chest? That was pretty interesting. That whole match was very chirpy. So Eric, he got hit with the ball. He claims that he did not feel it, but everybody else, Jay and Pablo, both said it 1,000% hit him.
Yeah.
And they were arguing for a couple minutes, and Pablo had a lot of choice words saying, we know that Rafa is a piece of dog crap, but you are not. Don't make that call.
Wow.
And he said that to him during the match.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought Rafa and Pablo were friends.
It didn't seem like it after that match.
Wow.
All right. What if there were no salaries in the PPA, only for MLP? Would the tour be more competitive?
No, because I think people are. I think for the most part,
For the
there's
most
a few,
part, yeah.
But they're trying. And here's one thing that to understand is that you're paying your own way to get to these events, right? We just talked about the travel stipend. It's not a lot of money, so it's costing you a lot of money to get to these events, and so they're putting it in effort. Also, there are bonuses in PPA.
Yeah.
I was told that Fed, because he's been on such a grind this year, is actually going to outpace his contract by $100,000
From PPA.
from PPA.
Well, that either means he's been doing incredibly well or his contract is very low, or both.
I think it's both.
Yeah.
So,
anything else?
no, I'm pumped for Salt Lake. Come say hi to us. Don't be a stranger.
Also,
I'm rocking the Utah hat.
if you guys are registering for an MLP or PPA tournament for either tickets or to participate, like play, we have a code, use code KOTC, and that will save you a little bit of money on those registration tickets. So, anything else, Jimmy?
No, Andiamo had a rough weekend. Played with Brandon French.
Dude, that pairing is hilarious.
Hey, is he coming to Salt Lake?
Who?
Andiamo.
I don't think so.
Oh, that's too bad. I'd take him out to dinner somewhere nice, somewhere actually
Some
Italian.
Italian restaurant,
Yeah.
Olive Garden.
Walters.
Yeah. Okay, if you made it this far, please do us a big favor. Hit that like and subscribe button. And we will see you guys hopefully in Salt Lake City.